Hi, welcome for our online training sessions. In the interview point of view, or it's a general topic which is required about purchase order closed status. So whenever we create a purchase order and approve the purchase order status will be open. So before we submit for approval, status will be incomplete. After approval, purchase order status will be open. When the purchase order status will be closed. When the purchase order status will be closed. Okay. So whenever the invoice is created for the purchase order, that time the purchase order status will be closed. Right now, if we look at here, it is open status. Let's go to Navigator. I'm going to raise the invoice for the purchase order. Go to invoices. Make sure that account payables rules are associated with your user, accounts payable manager, accounts payable supervisor, and accounts payable specialist. And data access has been provided for this user, means your business unit. And here we can search either with the supplier name or you can search with purchase order number, supplier site also. I'm going ahead with this supplier name. And purchase order number 2, I'm going to select PO number 2. So the system retrieves automatically what is the business unit and supplier details. And now I'm going ahead with this. Amount is $1,500. Okay. And here we can go for match the purchase order. Now what system is showing attribute accounting date is an invoice line. Okay, you must provide a value for accounting date. So what system is showing is accounting date is not valid, means it seems periods are not open for this particular business unit. Let's go to the payable periods. Manage accounting periods. And we are in application payables. How about the ledger? Which ledger we are working? Sony primary ledger. Sony primary ledger. You can filter it from here. Press enter key. This is Sony primary ledger. Choose this. And now we would like to open this July period. Let's go for July 23. Press OK. That's how it's going to be opened. It's been submitted. Let's refresh. Purchase orders, sorry, accounting period is open. Now let's go back to our invoice here. Let's go to invoice page and try to create invoice based on the purchase order. Choose this purchase order number. And I'm going to say that invoice number is this. 1,500. Actually, the error we got it because of this accounting date. System was not able to pick the invoice accounting date because the period is not opened. That's the reason. Now let's go to here. Let's go for create an invoice for the purchase order. Now save this. So once invoice is created, in case if we want to know the PO information, let's validate here. If we want to know the purchase order information for this invoice, there is a tab at line level. Click on this purchase order button. Then we will come to know here what is our PO number, line number, and schedule number. Nothing but shipment number. This is all details we can find out. Okay, let's go for save and close. So now the invoice is created for our purchase order. Let me go back to purchase orders and search for the purchase order here. We go to manage orders and click search button. I can find this purchase order number here 2. Now the purchase order is closed for invoice. It's closed for invoice. It means invoice is created. The moment when you make the payment, obviously it's going to be permanently closed. Okay, invoice is closed for invoice. That is another status, closed for invoice. Now we are going to make the payment. Let's go to the tab here, payments. But if we want to make the payment, make sure that bank setups needs to be enabled for our business unit. Let me cross check this BU is having the bank setup or not. For this business unit, should have a bank, right? So without bank account, we can't pay the amount. Disbursement bank account, we are not getting. So either we can take the existing bank or we can create a new bank. It's not a complex setup, bank and bank branch and bank account setup. So what we'll do is let's go to financials. Won't take much time, couple of minutes. Let me just to configure manage bank. But when we are talking about from the United financials point of view, we should be very clear each and every point here. But right now it comes for purchase order. Sony Bank. I'm just taking it. Save and close. Just mandatory fields we are just going to enable and create a branch here. Sony branch. And routing number should be a valid US routing number. US bank routing number. You can choose any number from our internet. So let me take this value here. Save and close. Branch we have created successfully. Let's view the branches. Within the branch, we'll go for create an account, bank account for our legal entity and as well as to the business unit. Sony, that's the bank account. Currency US dollar and legal entity is mandatory because for the legal entity only we are going to create a account. I want to use this bank account in account payables as well as I want to use it in receivables also. Enable these two checkboxes and let's go for create a payment document here. And payment document here, Sony. Because while making the payment document, it will ask us, do you want to go with the check format? So I'm going ahead with a standard format here. Standard check format. Starting availability number, let's say 9. I'm going to put it here. Press OK. That's a check number. Then assign this bank account to the business unit. There is only one BU within this legal entity. Let's go for assign. This bank account setups mainly we will use it for cash management model. The cash management model it will be made. So now it's done successfully. So after that, payment process profile is mandatory. When we want to make the payment to the supplier, payment process profile is mandatory. I'm going to create one payment process profile for our format, standard format. Let me choose this payment process profile here. Choose the payment file format. I'm just taking it as Sony standard. Go for save and close. Now the payment process profile has created successfully. Let's go for make the payment. So bank setup is mandatory for our business unit as well as payment process profile also should be there. Then we can make the payment to the supplier. Let me go for payment. Choose our business unit. Choose the supplier name. I'm going for disbursement bank account. This is the bank account. Check payment, payment process profile, Sony. Payment process profile, payment document also we have prepared. Starting number 9, right? So all these setups we have configured in banks. Now system is showing that this is the invoice, which is already raised and now waiting for payment. So save and close. Now payment is done successfully. What is the payment number? 9. 9 is the payment number. This is 9 is the payment number. So if at all we want to go for create accounting transactions, if accounting entries are generated, both invoice accounts as well as the payment accounts, we have to transfer to general ledger. Okay. So that we have already discussed in our previous sessions, how it will be configured. So right now what we are going to do is we are going to configure, we have configured the invoice as well as the payment. Now we wanted to test the purchase order status. Let's go for here. Purchase order status. Now we'll go to the task list here. Manage orders. Now click search button. It is closed for invoicing and still payment is not done. So that takes some time. I think invoice accounts. Let's go for invoices. Creating account is not done. Accounts has been created and transferred to GL also. Now invoice is validated, accounted and fully paid also. Invoice is fully paid. Let's go back to purchase orders. Go to task list here, manage orders. It may take some time. Life cycle, we'll see that invoice has been raised or not. It's invoiced. Invoice also is done. Then once we receive these items into our inventory, then it's going to be finally closed. Here received. Once we receive the items into our inventory, then it's going to be closed. Right now, this is closed for invoice. That time, for example, if you receive the items first and then go for raise the invoice, first the status will be closed for receipt. Now the status is closed for invoice. Okay. So let me open this purchase order here. Which inventory we order the goods. Go to purchase order schedules. We'll come to know which inventory organization we order the goods. Go to view menu, columns, additional columns we can display like this. What is the field? Organization. Click on this organization. Sony inventory arc. So the goods has been ordered for this inventory. What is the item name? Sony monitors. How many items? 100. Let's log into inventory and go for receive this items and then see the purchase order status. But we do not have inventory access right now. Mr. Kiran Kumar does not have the access to inventory. Let's go for add the roles for inventory and then data access. Go to users tab. There are 3 roles which are related for inventory, mainly inventory manager, warehouse manager, and warehouse operator. Now we'll go for data access here. Go to setup and maintenance. Sony inventory arc. warehouse manager, and then warehouse operator. We provided the roles to the user, then data access. Let's run the LDAP process. Now we are going to log into the inventory and receive this items. Let's go to navigator, supply chain execution. It may take a couple of minutes. Let me just log out and log in meanwhile. You can see that inventory management is populated. Now we got the access also, data access. Let's receive this purchase order. Before receive the items, we'll verify item quantity in our inventory. Oh, there is only one item, so we can choose the item name here, Sony monitors. In the organization, Sony inventory organization. Click search button, no results. It means zero. We don't have quantity for this item in the inventory. Now we already ordered. We are going to receive these items, receive expected shipments. Purchase order number 2, click search button. Let's receive these goods into our inventory organization. But I think receiving parameters are not enabled. Yes. Inventory module, we need to do some receiving setups for our inventory because this is a new inventory organization. So in the inventory module, for inventory organization, we have to do the receiving parameter setups. It means when we are receiving the goods into this inventory, what are the things we are supposed to consider? For example, if the goods delivery has got delayed, so do you want to accept or not? If the quantity more or less, nothing but a tolerance is more or less, do you want to go for accept or not? So at this point of time, I don't want, I'm going ahead with directly receive the goods. Receipt number also I wanted to generate automatically numeric values. RMA, it is mainly for return material authority. It's related for order management. Just choose the receipt routing as direct delivery. So I want to close. So we have done receiving parameters for our inventory organization. We said that even if the goods delivery is delayed, no problem, accept, no action. Even if we get more or less tolerance also quantity wise, that time also we would like to go for receive it. And receipt number generation. Now it will work here. Let's go back to inventory management. Let's go to receipts, receive expected shipment. What is the purchase order number 2? Search for the purchase order. Receive. So show receipt quantity, will get the quantity from the purchase order. So we are trying to get the sub inventory because it's a standard receipt, I think. Means we have to go for receive and deliver into the inventory. So right now we just received 100 items from the supplier. This we have to keep it in our warehouse, put away. Put away receipt is nothing but deliver to our inventory. So still we don't find the quantity in the warehouse. If I check it from inventory, we received from supplier, still the goods are there in our warehouse staging area. We have not accepted into our warehouse. That's nothing but put away receipts. Go to put away receipts. What is our order number 2? You can search with receipt number also. Keep this put away. Now system will show you the sub inventory name so that we can receive the goods into sub inventory. So I'm going to receive. If you would like to receive 50 items to here and 50 items to second sub inventory, you can do that. Let's go for submit this. 50 items we have received into one sub inventory, and another 50 items into some other sub inventory. Go to purchase order, put away. Now we can find the quantity is 50. Let's receive these two remaining 50 into the second one. Go for submit. So we have received 100 items of sub inventory 150, sub inventory 250. Inventory is same. Inventory organization is same. Let's go back to inventory and manage item quantities. In this inventory, we have only one item, Sony monitors. So, but anyway, we'll choose item and search. Now, what system is showing? There are 100 items in your inventory organization. 100 items we have, but out of 100, if we look at sub inventory 1, inventory organization 100, and stores 1, 50 items, store 2, 50 items we got. So we have received, what is the receipt number? 1000. 1000 is the receipt number. Let's go back to our purchase order and let's see the life cycle of the purchase order. Manage orders here and click search button. Now I cannot find the purchase order number 2. This is very important. This is very important. I just wanted to show this status only. That's the reason we created invoice, closed for invoicing. We created a receipt, closed for receiving. And finally, we are going to get a closed status now. Okay. So at this point of time, system is showing that purchase order number 2 is not existing. Okay. Sometimes this is also another question in the interviews. When I search for the PO after receive and after invoice, I could not find what could be the reason. It's very simple reason. In the search region, what happened by default, include closed documents will be no. It means whatever the purchase orders are closed, don't get those information. Only the purchase orders which are another status other than the closed status, whatever we have, then get it. That's the search criteria we have got by default. That's why we are getting. But at this point of time, I wanted to show the closed purchase order documents also. Then we can find here. So this is how the purchase order status will be closed. Okay. So these different statuses, which are very, very important. Now purchase ordered, received, delivered, and then invoiced. We can find the receipt number and we can find the invoices. This is within the organization when we are performing inter-org transfer, intercompany transactions. That time we'll find in transit shipment, not right now. Okay. So this is how we are going for purchase orders, closed status, receiving for invoice and receiving for shipment. Thank you.